Hey everyone. Good.
Hi there.
Good. All right, we'll give people a couple of minutes to get quorum here. Hopefully everyone's week is going at least reasonably.
Hey, Joe, this is Paul. I'm here for Tim today.
Yeah, I know.
Thank you.
I'm working through the list. The way Zoom populates the participants list is interesting because it doesn't do them in order arrived. I'm not sure exactly how it does them, and sometimes alphabetical. I haven't figured out exactly how they order, but stuff jumps around. So, all right. Well, we have quorum. But we'll give it just 2 more minutes. At 7:05, we'll get started officially. While we're waiting, my agenda has 3 items on it. And is there any other topic anyone wants to discuss today?
I would like to discuss the STC summit. Is Vincat here? Or is he still on vacation?
He's still on vacation. Murchie is supposed to step in for him.
Okay.
But Murchie's not here quite yet. So we'll put that last.
Okay.
So, what do you want to discuss about that?
Just the demo POC lab session. I still need to nail down who the speaker is for that. They've got me listed because I submitted it, but I'm still don't have my travel approved.
Gotcha. Yeah, and when we did the agenda, since I'm on that agenda committee, I told him that if push came to shove, I would do it if I had to.
Okay.
Or maybe I can strong arm Vipin into doing or something since he's local.
Yeah, that'd be great. Dan Daly said he would do it as well. If
or Dan. I'm looking at the list of the people who are here, or a lot because he's local, right? So maybe we can strong arm a local person into doing it. So that's a good topic.
Yeah, that's what I was hoping to do.
Yeah, and also Philip has a demo that in addition to offering a a speaker, if the presentation includes a demo, then he has a demo that he can provide to me for that.
That's great. So yeah, and we can do joint speakers. So Dan, if you and Philip, or if a lot of Philip or Vipin and Philip, we're going to do it. We could do it. You can do it a joint thing. So you can do a short overview. Here are all the POCs we have in progress. Here's the lab setup that's just starting to be built out and what the purpose is. And then we could say, and here's one of the demos. Here's one of the POC demos for you to see. And whether that's pre-recorded or we try to do it live, we can determine. Sometimes those are better if you kind of pre-record them and then you just play them as part of the presentation.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. Then nothing can go wrong. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and then he can talk to it while it's playing, but so he can provide the talk track. It's like kind of like a voiceover. All right, cool. All right, well let's get started officially. It's 5 after, and we've already started. So let's finish the demo POC lab session speaker topic first, since I think that one will be pretty quick. So does anyone want to volunteer? So, I mean, Dan, do you want to volunteer? Do you want to do it? Because if so, then I think we're set.
Yeah, I want and can. Yeah, I'll be in town and I can do it.
Okay, great.
All right, so we are set with that.
Joe, do you want to, will you go back to the SCC folks and talk to them, or do you want me through their speaker card thing to communicate with them on that?
You should, since you're the speaker, you should submit an official, hey, replacement speaker, and so on, and you can say that you know, you discussed it with me, and
Okay.
that you know, and if anybody has any questions, they can ask me. So I'll
Sounds
field
good.
all the questions, but since you're the official speaker, you say, hey, here's the replacement speaker for me, and because that'll follow the normal process. There's a place you can do that. I can look up the exact email if you need it, but there's a place that can be done.
Okay, yeah, I haven't logged into the portal yet because I didn't want to like steal a registration if I wasn't going to be able to using it, something like that. So
That's right. So just let them know, and officially, and then I'll
okay, I will.
yeah. And do we want okay, so that's good. And then if we have a recorded demo from Philip, Dan, that would be good as well. All right, anything else on SDC and so on?
It would be nice to have demos from other vendors too. Like if yeah.
Right. So so the key site storage demo would be good. If there's something from Red Hat on time, that would be good. Paul.
Yeah, so the F5, I really
Sorry,
doubt that it
F5
will be.
and Red Hat as well, Stephen.
Yeah, I really doubt that we'll have that demo ready in time. I'd really like to, but the pace at which we're able to bring these cards up and get them provisioned is slow.
All right.
So guys, I contributed to SDC last year. So I think it would be nice if Paul can share the abstract that was sent, because
Sure.
this will determine what we can show there. And
Mhm.
of course, the time slot is limited. So, you know, it would be great to show that we are vendor agnostic. So that's the key message that we should convey.
Mhm.
But we will definitely not have that much time to show demo of too many vendors in one slot.
Yep, that is correct.
And that's why, you know, an edited pre-recorded is probably the best thing, because you've got about 45 minutes total, including Q&A. Really, you got about 45 minutes. It's a 50-minute session, but you know, all the overhead being what it is. So you generally plan on kind of a 25 or 30-minute presentation, and then it generally fits in the slot. So if we want to show videos, I would suggest like 2 or 3 5-minute videos, and then like a 20-minute presentation. And then of course you talk to them, you know, you can talk to them before and after for a couple of minutes, but just like 5 minutes, hey, it hit the highlights. Or if we're doing one, it could be like a 10-minute thing. And again, you can talk in between. So anyway, we can discuss about that. All right, good. So we're set. Anything else on this topic, Paul?
No, I think that's good for right now. Thank you.
Okay. So next thing is Stephen is no longer the POC developer platform chair, but he's still on the TSC. And so we need a replacement for him. So we're opening. So I guess I can send an email later, unless we have an immediate you know, volunteer that we can approve, or somebody can appoint. And the person doesn't have to be from one of the voting companies, just has to be from, someone who's interested in doing the job. And obviously participating in OPI, but that goes without saying. All right, any suggestions or thoughts on that from anyone? Okay, so think about it. Like I say, I'll make an announcement on that this is open for volunteers or recommendations on both the general list in Slack and an email to the overall TSC mailing list. All right, and then Stephen was also an OPI maintainer, and he's stepping back from the OPI maintainer as well. If there's anyone that would be a good candidate for becoming a new maintainer, that would be useful as well. So I suspect I won't get any recommendations or volunteers verbally on the meeting. So let's think about that one as well. And those whoever's doing the POC developer could also be the maintainer, but they don't have to be the same person.
Right.
All right. Any questions, thoughts? All right, next topic. Security policy. So Philip, why don't you take it away and walk through the security policy and what the gist of the discussion was, a summary of what the discussion was, and then we'll take any verbal discussion and questions, and then we're going to vote. And we may do an as amended if we have something we want to fix. We'll say approved, with changes as agreed to in the call, and then because Philip, you can also describe what you actually want to do with this policy first step. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing so you can share. I think it's better if you walk through, and I'm not paying attention to chat.
Okay. Okay, so just a moment.
Oh, did I have a spelling error too? Okay, I will, Sridhar.
Okay, so I'm sharing. Yeah, so maybe let me start with some background. Generally, I started some initiative on our OPI Intel Bridge project to get some security aspects improved. And since this is often an organization level topics, it resulted in several adjustments, like we enabled CodeQL scans for all repositories, and the overall goal was that we want to improve our open source security foundation score to build trust in the project, and be as much transparent as possible in terms of having good security standards. And at some point, I also noticed that we miss a security MD file as a GitHub project, and we should improve on that. And I also thought it would be a good topic to do for the whole organization and not just on a repo level. So some time ago, I started a thread on Slack on that, but there was no much response. and Boris encouraged me to draft a proposal. So I drafted it, created a PR, and then we had some discussion. Basically got some comments from I think Mark, Paul, and Joe. I tried to address all of them. So far so good. So basically the PR is kind of approved by the current participants, and Joe wanted me to attend this TSC meeting and to go over it so that if there are any other objections, we can address them straight away in the PR. And if the people find it good to start with it, then we could merge the PR. After it's merged, I would like to run a test, but the test requires us to already have an agreement on the mechanics. So maybe let's go through the security policy, and then we will see what the mechanics means here. So in general, security policy is about having a policy for any collaborator or participant or member of our organization to know how to proceed if a security vulnerability is discovered. As a goal of having this policy, I stated that most of all, this policy aims to efficiently handle security vulnerabilities while minimizing public disclosure until a fix is available. So it's about reacting in a speedy manner and minimizing public disclosure. Technically, I'm thinking about doing this through GitHub private security advisories. So this is a mechanism that GitHub is supporting. They need to be enabled for the organization so that anybody is able to submit such a security issue through GitHub mechanism. People who will be acknowledged about this are OPI maintainers, and I assume that we can freely configure the list of people who get notified, and just suggested that they should also include board members. And here I kind of try to define some SLA, so that the policy is not there, to be vague and fuzzy, but just to have some clear obligations that we try to fulfill. So reports will be acknowledged within 5 days. It's just about acknowledging, right? So to the report that, yeah, we got your message, we are on it. OPI maintainers will respond to a report within a maximum of 10 days, indicating the next steps in handling the submission. So there is also, this is a mechanism about reporting a vulnerability. So what we aim and how to do that and how quickly we will react.
Yeah, tactical thing, put 10 calendar days.
Yeah, that's an easy
5
change.
calendar days, just so that there's absolutely no confusion since we're writing a policy. But that's just a super tactical thing. All right, keep going. This is good.
Yeah. Okay, so there is also a short paragraph about third-party modules. So the vulnerability may, in fact, be related to a third-party module that is in use. So here, the idea is to say that security issues in third-party modules should be reported according to their own security policies or directly to their respective maintainers if they don't have such a security policy in place. Joe was suggesting that OPI needs some assessment of the effect of the vulnerability and any workaround that OPI will do to mitigate the vulnerability, if any, while the vulnerability is being reported to the third-party tool. So, in general, it's a good point. I agree with it. But my response to it is I propose to handle this in the next revision of the policy if we want to elaborate on this aspect explicitly. For now, I most of all want to establish a policy for reporting OPI issues. And if somebody reports through our mechanism a third-party issue, we still need to monitor our dependencies, and we can identify that these are related to third-party, and we can still decide how to go about it. Yeah, so it's not blocking us anyway. I don't think we need to be so explicit about that at this point. And then there is the
on that one, then let's put
Yeah.
a forward reference to that. Say, basically write it so that you say this, current policy covers direct submissions to OPIs. We will have an addendum for third-party interactions developed in the future, something like that. Let's just put that disclaimer, if you will, in the text.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't.
I can,
That's a good point. I mean, you make a good point on whether to include it here or not, and I'm fine not including it. All right, keep going. It's good.
Good.
But this time.
So the next paragraph, actually the biggest one, is about our disclosure policy. So we need a CVE process for that, and I tried to sketch it in 7 points. I consulted several other GitHub projects. I was mainly inspired by the CVE process that SPDK team has defined for their project, but it's kind of adjusted, also incorporating the feedback I got in this PR. So going through the steps, the first one is that the OPI maintainer acknowledges the receipt of the report and calls for a maintainer security experts meeting to discuss the scope and assess the severity of the vulnerability. And here I explicitly, after the feedback I got, decided to say that we are using CVSS score, because if we want to assess the severity, we need to have a uniform way to do that, and CVSS score is just I think that the most common standard to do that. This assessment should also make us think out of the box and identify any potentially related problems. So once this is done, OPI board is notified about the identified vulnerabilities and their severities. So, I treat point 1 as some kind of a pre-work before we go to OPI board with it, because OPI board will also support getting resources to work on the problem. So in order to be able to do that, there need to be some severity assessments done, etc. So resources are identified and assigned to investigate the issue in more detail so that a fix or workaround can be proposed. Then point 3 says the reporter is notified about the next steps in handling the vulnerability and may be invited to collaborate on a fix. And once a fix or workaround is prepared, it is submitted for a standard review by creating a pull request. And here it's emphasized, without disclosing any details about the vulnerability, but merely stating what the patch does. Once the PR or maybe more is merged, the most recent official release will be used as a baseline for a maintenance release and will include only the fixes identified for the issue at hand. Once we have that, we are free to do some okay, so once the maintenance release is tagged, the OPI maintainer will request a CVE for the vulnerability officially. So at this point, we are making the issue public, but we already have a fix and we have already a maintenance release tagged. So after the issue has been disclosed, and announcements will be made on the OPI Slack security channel with more information about the issue and the fix, so that community members can decide for themselves what their exposure is and if they should move to the new release. That's it for the CVE process. And the last paragraph is just, invitation to improve the policy or start the discussion on improvement. And here is, some boilerplate text that we adapt the security policy to foster secure collaborative environment for open source community, and that security is shared responsibility. Together we can enhance the safety of the OPI project for everyone. Yeah, so that's it. Yeah.
Any other comments, questions, discussion, anything at all?
So far, good. Yeah, I like it so far.
All right. All right, so we had just a couple of minor wording changes. So the third party, forward-looking statement disclaimer, maybe at the end, the changing days to calendar days, which is really just a clarification, and anything else tactically that we want to make sure goes in here. Any other last minute little adjustments from anyone?
So Philip, I just in Slack created a team-security Slack channel. So you can reference, you can add a link to that in the section where you say they'll be announced on the security Slack channel.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so I took these notes, but calendar days, third-party disclaimer, and link to dash security channel. We will also need Boris's help to enable this GitHub private security advisories reporting for the organization. And once we merge that, it's just the first revision. Yeah, so we are open to fine tune it and see how it works for us. But if we agree now on the basic points, on the mechanism through GitHub security advisories, then I would say Boris can enable that for the organization, and then I would get in touch with the maintainers and try to just submit a fake security issue so that we can play around and see if proper people get notified and so on.
Yep. Okay, any other questions or comments? We have enough people to vote on this, so we have quorum. I'm going to do a vote by if you object, then raise your hand in the app or speak up. Come off mute and speak up. And I'll give it 30 seconds for people to think of whether they want to object. And if you object, you don't have to say why. You're free to vote no, and I'll record you as a no vote. So all right, so I'm going to start the vote now. So if you remain silent for 30 seconds, then you're voting yes. Okay, so I take it everyone's good with this. So I'm going to say, vote 7 yes and 0 no. This is your last chance if you want that different. But I think this is an excellent thing. All right, Philip, you're free to do your implement and test this. You're good to go. So thank you for the submission and walking everyone through it.
Great. Thank
Okay.
you for your comments, Joe.
Yeah.
It helped it made it better.
Yeah, thanks. All right, so anything else for today? The last thing is I'm going to be traveling, not next week, but the week after. So I'll need a stand-in. I'll see if assume Tim's going to be attending that call, and so I'll let him know he needs to be a stand-in. And if he can't do it, then I'll find another one.
Yeah, I believe he'll be back by then.
Right. Okay.
So, and not next week, but the week following, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Yeah, I'll let him. I'll ping him as well.
Yeah, just let him know. So that there's not a surprise. All right. Any other topics? Anything at all anyone wants to bring up?
Joe, I'm making progress on the PR for the IPDK proposal. So just wanted to give you an update. I think it might take just some more time just to make sure we have something crisp from the Intel side, but we are working on it.
Excellent. Okay. All right. If there's nothing else, then I'll go ahead and close the meeting. And officially stop, and we can stop I guess the recording just stops when we close the meeting. All right, so we're going to officially close the meeting now. Thank you, everyone. Wait, there's one thing in chat. Some people like to talk. Oh, Chris Summers, you're standing in for Merchia. Okay, so he had sent the email for Merchia. All right, I'll record you, Chris, and I'll record you and Mark as present when I publish the notes.
Okay, yeah, and that you can add one more positive vote.
Yes, that I will. Like I said, I'll do the update. Yeah, and feel free to come off of mute and talk. So, all right. So thank you for that update, and so I'll mark you guys as present. All right. With that, we're done for today. Thank you very much, and we'll continue next week.
Thank you, guys. See you. Bye-bye.